Okay, for the teacher space, this is where you're going to do your planning, your computer work, organize your personal materials that students shouldn't have access to, and store student records. That's an important piece of this. But remember that your teacher area is mostly going to be used during your scheduled prep time and after school hours. Considering that it won't take up the majority of your school day, it shouldn't take up the majority of the space in your classroom either. That's valuable real estate for students. So just want to keep that in mind as you set up your teacher space. These teachers in these examples have found out a way to carve out some space while leaving the majority of room for students. So I just want to point out a few things. In the picture on the right, the top right, that teacher area, it looks like she's using a horseshoe table, which might be multi-purpose. She probably also uses that to teach small groups at, but that's her teacher space. So she's got that counter behind her desk or her table, and then you can see a lock on that cabinet. That's perfect for storing student records. So keep that in mind as you set up your teacher space. Where is your locked cabinet, whether it's a file cabinet or a built-in cabinet like this, where you're going to store confidential student records like your IEPs, your evals, your student data? Where is that going to be kept? Then you can see another example on the top left is a teacher who's also using a horseshoe table and kind of has back in the corner has their area. They've got a bookshelf with some of their materials. That's an area where they can sit and do computer work once the students are gone from the room, or they can teach a small group there and clear off the computer and the pencil box or whatever needs to happen there. Another example is on the bottom right. You can see another teacher who has put a desk kind of back in the corner, so they're not taking up a lot of space, but you can see some organization ideas there as well. Okay, so it's beneficial. We're going to talk about tips and tricks on each for each area. And when you're thinking about your teacher area, it's beneficial if you can see the classroom from your teacher area. So keep that in mind. Like if you are needing to work on something when you have a couple students in the room, can you see the room? And maybe if you're teaching at that desk, that table, like the examples that we saw, and maybe you're teaching a small group, but can you see the other areas of the room where students are? Don't store student materials behind your desk, because you don't want to give them an idea or a reason, or an idea, but definitely not a reason to go behind your desk and into your teacher area. Something that can be helpful for teaching students to respect teacher space, which is important. It's important to learn which areas of the classroom can I go in and which areas of the classroom are off limits to me. It's an important life skill. So using something like the red tape on the floor with stop signs can be a good visual cue to teach students that stop, that's off limits, that's the teacher space. I know my students, young students, they really enjoyed practicing that. So we'd take a reinforcer, we'd walk up to the line, stop, high five, make it fun, make it a game. And they would sometimes go stand on the red line and go, look, Mrs. Maxim, I'm stopping. And so then you can reinforce that too. Great job, I'm so proud of you. And they love to practice that. And it really did help keep them where they need. You'll need to consider where your phone hooks up. If you have a phone in your classroom, where your computer hookups are, if you're wired into the wall, which most buildings still are. So that's an important consideration with teacher space, and something that we often can't control. Often it's not ideal, but we make it work, right? So just considering that before you set up this area of your room is important. You can see on the screen a variety of organization options that teachers have used. And just a note about keeping your things organized. If you keep it organized and you have a system for things, then you don't have to carry that heavy cognitive mental load of where is everything and where is it supposed to be. If it has a place and it lives there and you're consistent about using your organization system, it will make your life so much easier. And it really does reduce that burden that you kind of carry around with you as a teacher. So you might need to get creative when you're thinking about your teacher space. The picture on the bottom right, I love this picture because they've just used a student desk. Looks like it's off in the corner by the wall. It's not a lot of space, but it's just what that teacher needs. They've really pared down their materials to be kind of just the essentials. And that you can see their teacher computer sitting there with some of their pencils and pens and things on the side, some drawers for organization. It's very much minimal as far as a teacher space goes, but they're making it work for them. So love that creativity.